Although change requests can come from any area of a project, in this segment we are going to focus on change requests that arise specifically from our quality processes. The types of change requests can include preventive action, corrective action, and defect repair. Let's talk about preventive action first. From the moment we put our quality planning into action, we may notice that what worked on paper isn't necessarily working in real life. Before we even consider our deliverables, we may notice that our processes could be more efficient or cost-effective or prevent a possible defect. In our restaurant, perhaps we are receiving our daily shipment of fresh produce from the vendor right in the middle of the lunch rush hour. We determined that by scheduling this shipment in the early morning, we can better schedule our work and possibly prevent any errors in counting inventory because we're too busy to focus on the task. We can submit a change request to implement a preventive action, one that prevents waste or could reduce defects. Once the change is approved, we can start performing our project work according to a new set of processes and procedures. This seems like a common sense change. So why do we have to go through change control? Isn't that unnecessarily bureaucratic? Actually, no. You will need to determine if any updates will be needed to your inventory control system now that you are checking in quantities several hours earlier. Also, are there any weather or traffic factors that could cause morning deliveries to be less dependable? Is there a different staff member needed who has keys to the restaurant that early in the morning? Do we need to update our contract with the vendor? When we don't consider the potential impact of changes, we could end up doing more harm than good, and suddenly a preventive change with the best intentions can cause all sorts of problems. Now that we have discussed a preventive action, let's talk about corrective actions. Generally, with a corrective action, we already have the correct processes in place, but perhaps we have trended away from them and we have started some bad habits. Although we are supposed to be wearing non-slip shoes in the kitchen and using cut-resistant safety gloves, many of the kitchen employees have slacked a bit, and now we have either realized there is an accident waiting to happen or we have actually experienced one. The customer may not be aware of this, but quality is not just related to the product. Quality also relates to the project and our work. If employees are getting hurt, are burned out, or if turnover is high, we have a quality problem, even if our restaurant is getting outstanding reviews from our customers. When we notice that our processes are not reflecting the performance called for in our quality plan, we must take corrective action to realign our performance. So why is a change request needed in this case? Isn't this the way it was always supposed to be? Yes, but we are now going to introduce a deliberate action that realigns our performance. That action may be a training refresher course, the introduction of routine audits of the activities that went astray, or even updated employee guidelines that introduce consequences for not adhering to safety standards. This will require a change request since we need to consider the impact on our overall project. It is possible that a nonconformance issue must be resolved because our deliverable is not meeting requirements. Perhaps we have begun using a new vendor for our produce, and the produce is not living up to our standards for freshness and quality. As a result, our overall deliverable is not meeting requirements. Customers aren't satisfied, and we need to make a change. Using a change request for defect repair, we will request a change of vendor. Of course, there could be a number of potential impacts to our project, and we will consider those when approving the change. The goal of project quality is to always move away from nonconformance and toward conformance. All change requests should support this goal. As we identify the causes of our defects, it often brings us back to quality assurance and the way we are doing things. By implementing more conformance activities, including preventive and appraisal activities, we should see less nonconformance and fewer failures. This strong relationship between quality assurance and quality control is ongoing and iterative. In summary, we compare our deliverables against the requirements. If we spot variance, we will work to correct it. We will determine whether we need to take any corrective or preventive actions. Any changes go through integrated change control. We monitor the changes to make sure they are effective, and we repeat this process iteratively until objectives are met.